Hey everybody, I'm Jane Graner. I'm the pastor at Trinity UMC in Duncanville, Texas.
And I'm Greg Neal. I'm the senior pastor at Grace United Methodist Church in Des Moines, Iowa.
And we're here to give you the wrap up for our second day at the General Conference of the United Methodist Church. Today is Tuesday, April 30th, and we had some big things happen today, part of our consent calendar. And it's just really so cool. Greg, go over what got passed today.
A consent calendar is a group of literally dozens and dozens of pieces of legislation that had overwhelming approval from all of the legislative committees as they were considering them. So they were brought to the conference as a package deal, and they were all passed by extraordinary margins. There were several really important pieces of legislation in that for people who are part of the LGBTQ community. For instance, one of the most important elements of the things that was overturned was prohibition in our book of discipline that has been existing now there since the 1980s, which barred funding for LGBTQ plus missions and ministries or affirming ministries of any kind. This regulation really harmed the church's ability to address the AIDS issue, the AIDS pandemic, at the end of the last century and the beginning of this one.
And also teen suicide.
Oh, and teen suicide, yeah, we couldn't address those types of issues. We couldn't even fund ministries that were targeted at helping disadvantaged LGBTQ people with food and clothing. It was insane the ways in which these regulations were applied. So that was one of the biggest things that was overturned today. Another thing was all the prohibitions against candidates for ordained ministry moving through the process at both the district and the conference level, those were wiped away too.
Huge. Other
regulations like the ability to file a complaint against a bishop for doing an ordination for an LGBTQ person, that was also wiped away. So all of those are very important advantages, a very important progress that was made today, and we've got a lot more to come.
And we're just so excited. It was on the consent calendar. It wasn't even up for debate. It was so well supported to do these. But we have a really big vote coming tomorrow. We think it's tomorrow afternoon, and that will be the vote on the infamous incompatibility clause in the social principles in our book of discipline. This is that infamous saying that says the practice of homosexuality is incompatible with Christian teaching. And it's this part that has been the basis for so many of these other odious rules and regulations. This will be, if we can vote it down, this will be the end of a 52-year-long nightmare for LGBTQ folks.
The incompatibility clause was added to the social principles in 1972. I was 5 years old. You were a lot older than me. I was 5 years old at the time. And this horrible legislation, this horrible addition, has been the source for so many regulations against gay people, gays and lesbians in ministry in the church, and now LGBTQ people throughout the life of the church. So prohibitions on same-sex marriage flow from that, as well as all of the regulations barring LGBTQ people from active ministry in the life of the church. That will go probably tomorrow. It will probably be voted out tomorrow.
And as soon as we get something back, I'm going to put something up on Facebook, just the latest news on that, if I'm able to, because I think I'm going to be so emotional about it.
Following that vote, then either possibly tomorrow, but I doubt it, more likely in the subsequent day on Thursday, there will be a series of, and maybe even into Friday, a series of votes to wipe out all of the legislation that is based upon the incompatibility clause in the social principles that actually bars the ordination and the appointment of LGBTQ people in the life of the church. So all those regulations that are then used to file charges against us will be actually then taken out as well. That'll be a huge step in the church, and something that I've dreamed about for 30 years of my active ministry. The idea that this day is now here, and it's about to happen, and it's really going to happen. It's a huge...
It's historic.
It's historic.
It's historic.
It's historic.
And we're also hoping that the prohibitions have been for clergy to perform same-gender weddings will also be cut from the rules of our church. So stay tuned and particularly pray. Really pray for tomorrow afternoon. This could be just the beginning of a whole new era in the United Methodist Church. And so we'll talk to you again tomorrow night. See ya. Good night.
Good night.